Oh, burn myself. Much like you're burning yourself now, Randy Pitchford. So, are we here yet? Are we there? Have we arrived at this point now, people? Can we now officially call Randy Pitchford a lolcow? Because this is textbook lolcow behavior. I cannot imagine. I have not seen quite as big of a crash out as I've seen with Randy Bobandy lately over this Borderlands 4 stuff. This man is having an egocentric meltdown right before our eyes. And he has done more for the community that creates memes on him than anything else. He's done more for that than he's done for Borderlands 4. He is getting torn up and he's doing nothing but being a big man baby about this. I'm going to be honest with you. I've thought about this video for a while. I even started filming some clips at the beginning of the Borderlands 4 hype because for me personally, when I was looking at the teasers and stuff, it really didn't look much different from Borderlands 1, 2, or 3, right? A lot of it, if you post it side by side, kind of looks the same. But I decided to shelve it because I was listening to my friends. They were hype about it. People started getting hype about it. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's really all that matters. If the game's good and it's worth the hype, then, who cares if it looks. It's Borderlands, right? If we get a cool open world Borderlands game, that's great. That's perfect. And then the game came out. Now, let's be fair. I'm going to be 100% fair here. It wasn't a bad launch. All things considered, right? It sure is optimized pretty terribly, right? But we've seen worse. Looking at you, Cyberpunk, No Man's Sky, right? We've seen worse. And honestly, had Randy not reacted the way he reacted, had Randy Pitchford reacted in the same way that CD Projekt Red and Hello Games reacted when their games came out to those launches, I don't think I would have made this video. As a matter of fact, I think I would have been more inclined to try the game out anyways. But boy, did Randy screw that up. Rand, you really fucked it up, buddy. Anyways, I've been debating about how I want to make this video. There is a part of me that wants to mercilessly mock you for what you're saying, the person you're being, right? Because let's strip it all down. You're being a big baby. You're being a big man baby. You're being a lolcow is what you're doing. And there is a part of me that wants to treat you like that. But before we do that, before I get to that, because I'm not even gonna lie, I'm gonna definitely call you out on some things and treat you like a lolcow. But I want to make sure that the facts are presented and the reasoning is understood as to why you are getting this reaction now. And it's not because the game sucks. It's not because it's terribly optimized. It's because you suck. It's because you do not know how to handle criticism. You are in a position of power as a CEO, which on paper should mean you possess skills that qualify you for this job, skills beyond the skills of an average human being like myself, but you're not displaying any of that. You're reacting like I would react. I wouldn't even react that way. I am so okay with criticism that it doesn't bother me on that level because I know how to take something negative like that and extract the useful and good information out of it to better myself. But you're taking negativity and you're just adding more negativity on it. You're taking a pile of shit and you're shitting more on it, bro. What are you doing? So I'm serious when I ask this question. Can we call you a lolcow now? Is that what you are? Because that's how I'm gonna see you until you fix this. I don't think you are. You've had plenty of chances to, but you just don't seem to be able to grasp social maturity. And it just showing so bad that like at this point I'm gonna have to just start calling you Dark Side Pitchford. Welcome to the club, DSP2. So, anyways, I want to take this video and I want to first and foremost explain why Borderlands 4 should not be optimized the way it is. I want to kind of shed a light on how poorly optimized that game is. And before I get into that, I do want to say one thing. I want to make one thing perfectly clear here. This is not a shot at the developers. I'm not going to criticize the developer's skills. I'm not going to blame this on anybody. Games like this come out all the time. That's the sad truth, especially in the AAA world, right? We get poorly optimized games come out all the time. Once again, Cyberpunk and No Man's Sky, the poster children for poorly optimized games. But the thing is the companies handled it so much better. They handled it in a way that made me have faith in them. And I bought in two copies of Cyberpunk, one from GOG and the other one from Steam, just because I wanted it on my Steam launcher. I bought in No Man's Sky, and to this day now, these games are awesome. These games are great. Like it's Cyberpunk is still if I ever want to like justify my purchase of my computer, my 4080 Super and all this, I play Cyberpunk because that is a wonderful game to play on that machine. Same thing with No Man's Sky. It's such a beautiful game and it's so easy to chill and relax. And one thing to take note from that is I think now that's the reputation these games have. Sure, they had a rocky start, but through social maturity and company executives being mature about this and being honest and transparent and opening communication, maintaining that communication, those games did a complete 180. And the way you're working this, Randy Bobandy, you're burying your team, dude. You are burying your team. You're burying Gearbox, bro. There's all these developers that I know would put effort into this because Borderlands, it's a big established franchise, right? It has fan base. It has people that love the lore about it. It has love coming from all sides. I can't believe that the developers actively made these choices. I think if you would have asked them before all of this, they probably would not have chosen Unreal 5. They probably would have done things differently to make this gaming experience what it should have been instead of what it is now. So, anyways, Randy Pitchford, this one's for you. So, before I get into the meat and potatoes of this thing, the first half, I want to talk purely technical specs. I want to talk the technical reasoning behind all this, and I want to not justify, but I want to explain why we're getting what we're getting with Borderlands 4. We're going to run a few benchmarks. We're going to run some comparative benchmarks to another AAA game that's actually in beta. And then on the tail end of this, I'm going to read your tweets. I'm going to make fun of you. And I want to say this too. I don't hold a grudge, right? I'm not mad at you to that point where like I think you're a piece of shit, right? I don't wish anything evil on you. I don't want you to die in an explosion or anything like that, right? At the very worst, I want you to stub your pinky toe. That's it. Not break it. I don't want you to break it. Don't break your pinky toe because that sucks. But stub it. I want it bruised, and I want the bruise to stay there for as long as Borderlands 4 stays unoptimized. That's the curse I put onto you. A bruised pinky toe until Borderlands 4 reaches the potential that we as the fans hold it to. Not you, us. You may have created this, right? But us as fans are the lifeblood behind this. We keep it alive. It's through our love of the game, our dedication that keeps it alive. And more importantly, and this is something you got to listen to very closely, I'm going to be very clear about this. It is the respect that we receive from our developers and our companies that keep us going back to these games. It boils down to that, Rand. Respect. Respect all of us to not treat us like we're idiots. Respect all of us to understand the situations that we're in and practice a little empathy to realize that your game isn't a premium gaming experience. You should not be gatekeeping these games behind words like that, behind prices like $80, especially for what you're delivering. Because as much as we love this game, as much as I love that franchise, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna support you. Why would I support you when you're treating me like this? This is borderline gaslighting, bro. This is an abusive relationship, right? You're slapping us around, and then you're like, oh, sorry, here's some few shift keys. It's about the respect between consumer and provider. And if you can't deliver that respect, other companies will. Larian Studios will. The guys behind Silksong will. The people behind Expedition 33 will. There are plenty more great examples of wonderful developers to give our money to that it should put you in a position where you should be a little bit more humble when approaching the people that are giving you the funds to continue your lifestyles, your game developments, whatever, what have you. And when you mark this up at $80, all of a sudden, it's not a matter of buying the games you like, it's a matter of stretching your dollar. And if I had $80, Buying Silksong and Expedition 33 seems a lot better than buying Borderlands 4. And I know it's at what, 70 or some shit like that, right? But the fact remains the same. The 20 bucks will get you Silksong. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound was also a wonderful game by a AAA developer. You have no excuse, and you're treating us all like we're children, and you're seeing the backlash of it. And you keep it up, you're going to end up being a locale. And that's what you're going to be. We're going to hold you in the same regards that we hold people like Low Tier God, Dark Side Phil. I don't want to say Cyrax. That's a little bit way beyond that. You're not anywhere close to that. But those two people, for sure, that's the same energy you're channeling. And at that point, you're not going to be getting attention because of how good your game is or whatever, or lack thereof. You're going to be getting attention because we're going to love to laugh at you. That's what it is. So, anyways, intro's out, intro's done. I want to talk about the technical specs here, and I kind of want to shed some light on why we're getting what we're getting as far as Borderlands 4 performance goes. And it boils down to two things: frame generation and DLSS. Now, let's tackle frame generation first. I'm going to put this down in a simpler terms because I could go on technically about it for a while, but for how it applies here, frame generation is a technology that predicts what the next frame should be and gives you, I say image, but it's not necessarily an image, but it gives you an image of what that frame is in between frames. And so what it does is, let's say your game's running at 30, right? If you use frame generation, it's going to use predictive AI to generate a frame in between each frame, which will double your frame rate. It'll give you 60 frames. This results in a much smoother look when it goes left, right, up, down, right? When you're moving the camera, it's going to be smoother. The downside to it is because this is predictive technology, it's predicting the frames. It's not actually generating the frame in real time. And what that means is you're going to see a lot more latency in your gaming when you're using frame generation. It's a cool tool to use to squeeze more life out of your older graphics cards, right? If you're using a 40 or 3060 or a 2080, I don't think the 2080 has frame generation. But any of the 30 series cards, right? It's really good to stretch that out in games that don't require precision. So you shouldn't be playing anything competitive like Counter Strike or anything like that using frame generation because it's the latency is going to get you killed. Now we're going to talk about DLSS resolution scaling. For a while, 4K gaming has been a hot topic. It's been a buzzword, and it's been the pinnacle of PC gaming, right? If you're going to be the PC master race, you got to game at 4K. That's what we're at. Yeah. The reality is, a lot of these cards can't really push that. The 5090 should be able to, right? You should be able to do 4K gaming on 5090 pretty easily. The 40 series, probably, maybe, but you're looking at on a 5090, maybe 90 frames, maybe 100 if optimized well. On the 40 series cards, 4K gaming, maybe 60 to 70, right? So it's there, but I like 1440. I like the step below that. Just because I I wear glasses, right? My eyesight already isn't that good. I don't know if I can tell the difference enough between 1440 and 4K to justify spending on a 5 series card or investing in the hardware. It's just not there yet for me personally. So what we have instead is DLSS. And what DLSS is it will use AI to render the game at a specific resolution, and then the AI will upscale it to the desired resolution. So let's say you're using DLSS on 4K and you're using quality DLSS settings. That means the graphics card itself is going to put in the work and render the game at 66% of the resolution. I think that's 1440 if I'm not mistaken. It'll render at that and then it'll use AI to upscale it to 4K to make it look like it's 4K. So the graphics card isn't working as hard to render it in 4K, but you still get that 4K experience. Now there are downsides to it. When you're using DLSS, there's a lot of artifacting. AI is not perfect. There are some times where things can look wonky and things like that, right? Especially if the game is not optimized. Quality DLSS, like I said, is at 66% of resolution. Balanced DLSS is 58%, and performance is 50%. So at performance, you're rendering at 1080 resolution and you're upscaling it to 1440p, or I'm sorry, 4K resolution using AI. In a nutshell, frame generation and DLSS are just crutches for games to squeeze more frames out. It's not actually using your graphics card power. It's using, I guess you could say, cheat codes to make it look better not actually perform better, but look better when you're looking at real numbers. Ultimately, though, when you're playing in a game, it really doesn't matter because it does look the same. When you're in it and you're enjoying the game, I don't think you should be as nitpicky about things like that. However, the reason we're holding Borderlands 4 to these specifications is because Darkside Pitchford said to do so himself. He called this a premium gaming experience for premium gamers. He also made the comment about how a lot of these people are running a monster truck game with a leaf blower engine. Oh, sweet Jesus. So, I want to show some clips. I want to first off take a deep look at Borderlands 4. We're going to analyze Borderlands 4 using DLSS, using frame generation at 4K technology. Mind you, I want you to guys to realize what we're getting. Let's test bench this premium gaming experience. Let's put a monster truck engine inside of our monster truck and let's see what we really get out of this. And luckily, there's a guy that we know that does just that. So we're gonna watch a video of a guy. Channel goes by the name of Z Worms Gaming. He's a pretty cool guy. He does a lot of benchmarking stuff for PC gaming. It's what I go to see really where I stand. I run a 4080 Super, so I'm not expecting the same results. But this guy is running Borderlands 4 on a 5090. He's running a very high-end PC. For all intents and purposes, this is the pinnacle of monster trucks that you're going to get. So let's take a look at what he's doing here.
Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm going to be testing a GeForce RTX 5090 in Borderlands 4. This one is the Founders Edition model of the card. I'm running it with the latest NVIDIA drivers, which are the recommended ones for Borderlands 4, by the way. And I'm not manually overclocking it. You can see all of its specs here in Tech PowerUp's GPU-Z, and over on the left, I'm pairing it with a Ryzen.
Let's go back and check those specs real quick.
I'm not manually overclocking it. You can see all of its specs here.
Okay, so this is a 5090 running, where are we at here? 32 gigabytes of dedicated RAM. GDDR7, it's got a 512-bit bus width. Bandwidth is 1.7 gigabytes of data. This thing can handle some business. I honestly think that there's really nothing you should be able to throw at this that's going to bog it down. By all intents and purposes, this is the gravedigger of graphics cards when it comes to monster trucks. So I'm curious to see how this is going to perform.
Tech PowerUp's GPU-Z, and over on the left, I'm pairing it with a Ryzen 7 9800X 3D and 32 gigabytes of RAM. Let's get into it.
So we have an 8-core processor running at 504 gigahertz, base speed 470, right? But look at this. This thing is also eating up anything that you can really throw at it. The memory is 32 gigs of RAM. The memories, it's not really that important for RAM as long as you have the available space. 32 gigs is a sweet spot. Sure, there are some applications. I don't want to say games, but there's some applications out there that may require more, like editing and shit like that. But for the most part, 32 gigs is it's pretty good. You're not gonna bottleneck on the RAM at all.
9800X 3D and 32 gigabytes of RAM. Let's get into it, shall we? Let's go over the settings first. I'm starting at 4K resolution, and we're using the badass settings here, which is basically maximum settings. DLSS is set to full resolution, which means we're running DLAA here.
So as we discussed before, DLSS, when used, it will render at a percentage of the resolution and upscales it based on what preset you make, right? So right now he's running it at full resolution, which is the whole 4K. So this is the pinnacle of premium gaming experience that you're going to get out of Borderlands 4. You really can't get much better than this. At this point, any improvement on the hardware is purely incremental. You're not going to see too much of a big jump upgrading any other piece of this PC right now. So this is the best we got. This is peak performance right here.
And frame generation is turned off at the moment, but I'll try some other settings over here with the upscaling and frame gen. The only thing that I disabled is the motion blur. Okay, so I played for a few minutes already, and this is very early into the game. It's still not in the full open world area.
This is what we need to pay attention to here. These are the stats that he's pulling in real time from this game. So this is an accurate representation of the hardware utilization for this game. Now, as we can see, Your premium gaming experience at 4K native is not even 50 frames. You're not even going to get 50 frames at 4K using a 5090 with a top of the line processor, plenty of RAM, all of it. Look at this.
Yeah, but we're getting there, I guess, because this area is a lot more open as well. So it's looking great, actually. The lighting and everything, the reflections on.
Also, keep your eye on the top here, right? It's using 99% of the 5090. And not even this isn't even an open world setting, right? This should just be this looks like a closed setting. There's not really much that it's rendering, but let's be fair, Unreal 5 is a terrible engine. It is. We all know this. If you're in the know, you understand what you're getting with Unreal 5. And this is unfortunately the reality of the situation. And had Randy just accepted that and owned it and said, hey, look, we're working with this engine. This is what we're dealing with. I wouldn't even be here doing this at this moment. I want to make it crystal clear that my beef isn't with how this game works, right? I know what to expect from Unreal 5. I know the realistic expectations set when you're running something on that engine. What my beef is with is how Randy is handling all of this. How you, as a CEO, the face of this company, is handling this. I'll give you some great examples of this: Cyberpunk and No Man's Sky. You want to talk about games with terrible launches. You want to talk about unoptimized. Those games were the poster childs for that. They didn't try to sit here and blame it on our hardware or try to fucking gaslight us into thinking that we're the problem. They owned it. They said, hey, look, we messed up. We promise we're going to get it fixed. We're actively fixing it. They kept communications open. They focused on the only thing that mattered in all of this, and that is making the game work. And when they focused on that, wow, what happened? The game worked.
We're down into the 40s in Borderlands 4 with these graphics. Again, the graphics.
Down into the 40s on a 5090 at 4K native resolution. Randy, what monster truck are you talking about here, buddy? What monster truck are you talking about? Please show us. Show us the situation, the specifications, the setup, the environment, the whole test environment that we need to get above 50 frames on native 4K without frame gen. Because, like I stated earlier, frame gen's kind of a crutch. Anyways, so we know that you obviously can't expect any premium experience on native 4K no matter what you're running here. So let's compromise here. I think the next setup is quality DLSS, which is 66% resolution. I think that's 1440 if I'm not mistaken. So quality DLSS will render this at 1440 and will upscale it to 4K. It's not real 4K. It's not rendering at 4K. It's upscaling it to 4K using AI. So let's go that here. Let's go to that here.
Though, because they're still there and they can be annoying for a lot of people. Still playable though, it's still enjoyable, I think, in my opinion. So let's keep on going here and try to shoot some people. All right, what am I doing here? Oh, that's my friend there. He's killing all of them. I'm not doing anything. Okay, this is an NPC, guys. NPCs are helpful for once. Oh boy. All right, kill that guy. We're getting hit by.
Something I also want to point out is earlier when we watched this, the beginning of this video, we clocked about 32 gigabytes of VRAM. They're using a third of that, a little bit over a third of that. What's happening here, why this is being utilized so much, is because the onboard processor chip for the graphics card is being beaten to death because it's got to handle so many processes at once. Now, you figure with a card like this, it would have the bandwidth to do so, but when a game is poorly optimized, the processor has to work harder to make up for it. It's got to make sense of all this jumbled crap that you put in front of it. So that's why we're getting 30 or 11 megabyte or I'm sorry, 11 gigs of VRAM usage over the 32 gigs and still peaking at 90% utilization because of the optimization there. And we're all of this. We're putting we're we're burning this thing out. We're kicking in the overdrive for 77 frames at most, an average of 69 frames a second. So you're getting 20 more frames, give or take, with DLSS quality at 66 at 1440. Premium, mind you. Premium gaming experience.
By this one here as well. Yeah, this area lacks a lot of detail. Like previously, we were seeing a lot of vegetation and so on. And I mean, I was like, yeah, sure. Vegetation is always intensive in Unreal Engine, so that's why the performance sucks a lot. But over here, it's still sucking a lot. I mean, the graphics don't justify. Oh,
The graphics don't justify. And I'm 100% in agreement with that. There's nothing that I'm seeing on this screen that justifies utilizing a 5090 at 90 to 100% utilization. There is nothing on that screen that should require that much power. And notice the processor's doing fine, right? The processor's handling it all right. It's not really doing much of anything. The big problem is the load on the graphics card, which points to rendering and the things that the graphics card is responsible for, which also ties into terrible optimization again. And like I said, this is Unreal 5. This isn't, I'm not blaming any developers or anybody that's actually working on this game, right? I feel like in this situation, you were told to make this happen and you did it to the best of your abilities and you used an unoptimized engine, probably against your own choice. So it's not against the developers or anybody who made this game. You know, I consider this talented because you're making chicken salad out of chicken shit, you know, that as the saying goes. I can't reiterate enough. My problem is with how Randy is handling this whole situation. And the only reason I'm even doing this is to drill it into his head that this is not okay. That what you're saying is 100% factually wrong. You're spreading misinformation. You're gaslighting people because you have a fragile ego. And that doesn't cut it here. That will not cut it here. You're not going to cut it here. You're going to be crucified on social media, and you already are. You're being turned into a lolcow right before our very eyes, and I'm all for it if you're going to keep being that guy. Anyways, so let's see if we can get 100 frames, right? So this is going to be 4K max settings, DLSS quality, which once again is at 1440, not 1080, or I'm sorry, not 4K, and with frame generation on times 4. Let's see what we get here.
4K monitor here that I'm using today. From a baseline FPS of 60 to the 190s, 200s that we're getting right now, this is much better of an experience. So enable
A baseline of 60 all the way up to 200. let's okay, so that's what, around 3 times the amount of frames with frame generation on. What's even better is this is 4 times. This is 4 times frame generation, and we're not getting 4 times frame generation. We're not getting 240 frames. So this is crap. Your game is crap. What more do I have to say? This is not optimized. You can't even give me 4 times frame generation on a top of the line monster truck graphics card, on a top of the line monster truck PC. Your stats are lying. Your settings are lying. You're lying. And I would love for you to shut me up. Because I'm not, look, the last part of this video, yeah, I'm gonna troll you. I'm gonna make fun of you because I feel like if anything, you deserve it, and that's what I'm gonna get out of this, right? If you're gonna sit here and try to gaslight me, then I feel like it's only fair that I'm gonna turn this around on you. Outside of that, seriously talking to you, how do you explain 4 times frame generation with 3 times frame generation results? Even better, give me the optimal setting. Give me premium gaming. Show me the settings, the environment in which we can natively run this at 4K with more than 60 frames a second. I'm okay with 60. 60 is fine with me, right? I'm not going to expect 120 or 1440 or whatever. Give me 60 frames native 4K. Tell me what we got to do, Randy. So yeah, that's this benchmark here. We're going to benchmark another game, a beta game, here shortly. All right, so we got our same guy, Z-Worms, doing the same exact test, except we're doing this for the Battlefield 6 beta. Now, Ray, how are you going to compare a beta to a game that's already out? Doesn't that seem unfair? Sure, in some cases, right? But I want to really drive the point home that this is unacceptable. Randy Pitchford is unacceptable. Your actions are unacceptable because we got a beta game that showcases what optimization really is. Let's get into it. Let's check out Battlefield 6 beta on the performance scale.
model of the card. I'm running it with the latest NVIDIA drivers, and I'm not manually overclocking it. You can see all of its specs here in Tech Power-Ups, GPU Z as usual. And over on the left, I'm pairing it with a Ryzen 7 9800X 3D and 32 gigabytes of RAM.
The same exact build.
Let's get into it. Shall we? Okay, we're already searching for a match, guys. It's 9 a.m. The game just released the beta, and let's go over the settings first. There are plenty of settings to go through, actually. So let's start with the graphics quality. I have everything set to the maximum. This is not the ultra preset, it's maximum settings, because this one on ultra preset actually goes up to GTAO high, and I selected SSGI high. So complete maximum here, and on the advanced settings we are playing with 100% resolution scale, fixed resolution as well, no dynamic, no frame rate limiter, the NVIDIA Reflex is set to enabled, anti-aliasing is set to DLAA, and no upscaling at the moment or frame generation.
Now, one thing I want to point out here, another thing I want to point out here. Let me move my screen here. Let's move it down here for a second. 4K max, you can see that up there, right? But let's look at the video memory usage here. Right, this whole setting on max settings and all this is only eating up 8 GB at most of video memory. Now, if we remember what happened in Borderlands, that was 11 GB of rendering graphics card utilization. So that already tells me this is already better optimized than Borderlands 4. Already, without even looking at the performance, I can already tell you just from this thing, this beta eating up less resources, you can tell that this game is already better optimized than Borderlands 4, a beta.
Although we will try that out later. And finally, these are the rest of the graphics settings. I am going to disable vignette and film grain. Chromatic aberration and motion blurs are also disabled. We're at 4K resolution here. I'm going to set it to full screen, and yeah, this is going to be it. And here we have it, guys. The chaos.
Look at this already. Explosions. And keep in mind, these buildings are 100% destructible. So these are all rendered individually. This is all physics, everything. This is destructible buildings, multiple players in the game, multiple players destroying buildings outside of your purview. There's a lot of shit going on. And we're at 11. And look at that. Look at that. 118 frames at native 4K resolution. This is what a 5090 should look like. This is what you should get across the board at the very minimum if you're touting a 5090 graphics card. If you're using a $2,000 graphics card, this is the expectation here. Let's go on.
Mayhem, the insanely large flares on the scopes of the snipers for some reason. Yeah, let's start counting our FPS. We're getting high refresh rate experience already, above 100 frames per second natively. So this is amazing. It feels really snappy as well. I'm using 110 FOV, by the way. This is what I feel comfortable with. And look at that! Wait! Okay. Wow, this is crazy. Oh, people are there. Okay.
So, at native 4K, max settings, you are getting, what was it? It was 80, right? No, I'm sorry. No, it was 200. That's 200 on 4 times frame generation. But on quality, you were getting what, 80 on Borderlands, right? On 4K full resolution, you're getting 40. You mean to tell me this beta is almost 3 times, is putting out 3 times more frames than your fully polished, fully released premium gaming experience? Pitchford, that what you're telling me? That's the best? That's it?
Okay, let's go. Let's get out of here. All right. Are we good? Hello, buddy. Do we have medics?
We don't even have to continue the conversation here. I don't have to go into max DLSS quality or performance. I don't have to at this point because this says it all. Let's just take a gander at quality DLSS. So this is at 1440, which is what I'm going to run the game at. I'm not a 4K person. I believe that in the future 4K will be more accessible, but I believe 100% that 4K is definitely a luxury and a premium gaming experience in reality, like native 4K. You don't, in my mind, I can't help but thinking like driving a Lamborghini and then driving a BMW with a Lamborghini body on it. That's frame generation to me. That's DLSS in a nutshell, right? You can drive a Ferrari, a brand new Ferrari, Or you can get one of those little carts online that is just a Ferrari body kit, right? That's what you're paying for when you're using DLSS, when you're playing Borderlands 4. Your premium gaming experience is fake 4K. That's what that is. You're not driving a Lambo. You're not driving a fucking McLaren, right? You're driving a go kart with a McLaren body on it. That's what you're driving. You're driving a leaf blower. Oh, this is so great. I love this. Borderlands 4 is a leaf blower with a monster truck body on it. It's not even a monster truck. It's a fucking lawnmower with a monster truck body on it. That's Borderlands 4 for you. 160 frames right here already.
Maybe I shouldn't have wasted the rocket there. I just panicked a little bit, alright?
I am excited to get this. Just because I have a comparable processor. Like I said, I have a 4080 Super, so I'm not master PC race yet. But at 170 frames at 1440, I'm excited about that. I'm excited. I would be excited for 120 frames. Honestly, I think I would even be able to squeeze. Bare minimum, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to squeeze 100 frames out of this at bare minimum. Now, once again, we gotta address the fact that this does not use ray tracing. The developers opted out of using ray tracing, which I think is a very smart move because when you're in all this chaos, when you're using all of this, I don't think the quality of the light shafts shining through foliage really matters. If you're playing this game, chances are you're going to be spending anywhere from 60 to 70% of your time scoped in anyways or in a vehicle, right? So I think it was really smart of them to turn off something like that because I don't think that's going to be appreciated in a game like I don't think it needs to be in a game like this as much as it needs to be in a game like Cyberpunk or No Man's Sky, where like visually it's very stunning, right? So it is without ray tracing, but that should tell you how garbage ray tracing is, how resource intensive ray tracing is. I don't think ray tracing should be on everything. I don't think it's a. We're not at the point in the evolution of hardware where ray tracing should be a standard, right? That should be something you should be able to enable if you have the ability to do so, but you should not. That should not be just something that's always on. Randy, I cannot believe that Borderlands 4 does not allow you to turn off ray tracing or lumen or whatever lighting engine they're using. That's the first time I've ever heard of something like that in a game, and it blows my mind. Blows my mind.
Oh my gosh, but this looks so good, dude.
Just look at how. Let's. I'm gonna sit here and just watch this for a second. I want to look at the detail. Let's look at how good this game looks. As we see all that pixelated fire. That's YouTube compression for you. Does this go higher? Let's do 1440. Yeah. Okay. So let's take a moment and let's take a look at some beautiful scenery.
Hey, I like locked weapons, closed weapons. Hello there, kind sir. Enemy suppression there. Let's go. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have wasted.
That building has been damaged. All of this stuff has been damaged in real time, and this is great. Anyways, I could go on forever about this, but I think you guys get my point. I think you guys understand where I'm coming from here. Randy, I hope and pray that you understand what I'm trying to say here. What we, as a collective gathering, as a collective consciousness of gaming, is trying to tell you that what you're trying to sell us as premium is not premium, dude. It's not an $80 game. It's not a $70 game. Hell, I would barely pay 60 for an experience like that with Borderlands 4. You're not offering anything, dude. You're a go-kart salesman. You're not selling premium cars. You're selling go-karts, bro. Used go-karts. That's all you're doing, right? And you're selling them at a premium price, bro. Anyways, we're done benchmarking this. I think at this point we've talked about what DLSS is, what frame generation is, how that affects gaming. So we brought up the Borderlands 4 benchmarking. We brought up Borderlands 4 gameplay. We brought up Battlefield 6 benchmarking. We brought up Battlefield 6 gameplay. I want to talk a little bit more about you, Randy, and your reaction at this point. So let's get into it. All right, friends. So now we're at the part that spawned this whole response, this whole video. The only reason I'm even talking about this is because of these series of tweets that this man has made. Our boy, Darkside Pitchford. I want to read a few of them. I think I got 3 picked out. There's too many to count. This man is obviously on a tirade. He's handling this in the least professional way. And more importantly, he's handling this in the least respectful way. It's not respectful of you. It's not respectful of me. It's not respectful of the time we've invested in the series. It's definitely not respectful of the money we've invested in the game, and it's not something that should be taken. You should not take these kinds of retorts, comments, or whatever for anything other than just the ramblings of an insecure person that can't handle criticism. And until you fix this, Randy, until at least I see you act somewhat sensible and responsible, act like an adult, your name is now just going to be Darkside Pitchford. That's who you are to me now. That may not mean much, you know. I highly doubt it's going to change your everyday life in any way, shape, or form. But Darkside Pitchford is now who you are in my book. I am refusing any gearbox products now at this point because I'm not going to support a joke like that. I'm not going to support behavior like that. I'm not going to make you think talking to people like that is cool when you're in the position that you're in. So, anyways, the first one was really, really kind of got under my skin. He's talking about when they were trying to do the $80 price point before he reneged on that. And he goes, A, not my call. B, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. My local game store had Starflight for Sega Genesis for $80 in 1991 when I was just out of high school working minimum wage at an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach. And I found a way to make it happen. Okay, cool. Was Starflight optimized? Right? Was it a full complete game? Right? It probably looked really good for the time it was in. It didn't have any stuttering issues, did it? It didn't drop in frame rate, did it? Let's even look beyond that. Let's look at, I don't know, the season pass that you guys have. Would you have played this game? Would you have bought this game if it meant you had to spend, let's see, 10 to 70 is 1 to 7 ratio. I don't know, an extra $5 for a season pass and to continue to pay money for extra content that got released? Would you have done it then in your high school minimum wage job? I highly doubt it. Having the availability to purchase something without dipping into your savings or your rent or compromising anything critical does not make you a real fan. $70 for Borderlands 4. If you're paying $70 for Borderlands 4, like I said, it's not my place to tell you how to spend your money. That's completely you. But to sit there and question the loyalty of gamers, of people who obviously don't have it as well off as you do now because they refuse to spend money that's more critical to them than some half-baked, half-cocked game that doesn't even run at high frames on native 4K, that's scumbag, bro. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'll shoot straight here. I feel like I feel like you know that was wrong. I feel like you knew that was wrong. I feel like you felt like you may have said too much because the price dropped down after that. But I don't know because you continue to say dumb shit, bro. You continue to say dumb shit. Like this one when they were talking about the engine issues and the optimization issues on the engine. Code your own engine and show us how it's done, please. We'll be your customer when you pull it off. The people doing it now are clearly dumb and don't know what they're doing, and all the support and recommendations and code and architecture from the world's greatest hardware companies and tech companies working with the world's greatest real time graphics engine coders don't know what you seem to know. Sarcasm. Randy. Randy, Bo Bandy, fee fi fo fandy. What is this? What is this? Let's take this piece by piece here. Okay, so first off, like your profile picture, you don't know how to code a fucking engine, Randy. What hill are you on? Huh? What throne are you speaking from, Bo Bandy? Huh? You don't know how to code an engine. Your team is not coding the engine. They're using an engine, which, by the way, is notorious for being a terrible engine. Nobody is okay with what's happening with Unreal 5. And the only reason we put up with it is because they're continually improving it. And had they pulled a Randy Pitchford and started trying to blame us for the problems with the engine, you best bet we wouldn't be using it. That's part one. Part two, where are you at right here? World's greatest hardware companies, tech companies working with the world's greatest real-time graphics engine coders. Is that what you really think? You think all the best are Unreal 5 or at Epic doing Unreal 5, right? When I don't know, we got the Dice engine, what is it, the Ice engine, whatever Dice is using their own in-house engine for Battlefield. which is already shown you previously far more superior than the Unreal 5 engine. The only thing keeping us content with Unreal 5 is the legacy of Unreal, because they are I can't say nothing. They're there, the Unreal Engine is godly, is legendary, but it's also because they're not treating us like assholes. They're continually improving it and working on it and refining it. And that's all we need. That's all we need in anything in this space is your promise, your guarantee, your loyalty to the product to where you will continue improving it. That's why we're okay with Unreal 5. Well, some of us are, some of us aren't. But that's why I'm okay with Unreal 5. Is because I know it's going to get to the point where they're going to improve it. And they don't talk to me like I'm a fucking idiot. And that's all I got to say about that, right? You tell me how coding works. You tell me why Unreal 5 can't render at more than 40 frames a second on native 4K. Why don't you go to your graphics engine coders, your world's greatest engineers, and have them explain to us why Borderlands 4 can't run on native 4K past anything other than 40 frames a second, 45 on a good day. And finally, this one, the big one. There's so much to decompress from here, man. There really is. And before I talk about this, I want to once again reiterate that the problem here, Randy, that you're facing, the backlash that you're facing, the criticism you're facing, the ire you're receiving is because of you. It's not because of Borderlands. It's not because of any of that. We had concerns. We raised the concerns like any consumer to producer relationship should work. And instead of taking those concerns and converting that into goodwill and reaffirming with us that this game is going to get better in the long run, you went 180 on it and you pretty much treated all of us like we're the idiots here. We're the dummies. When truth be told, I highly doubt you could say anything technical about the game whatsoever. Anyways, back onto this. The minimum and recommended specs are published. The most common hardware is a 4-year-old cell phone. Nobody's talking about playing this on a 4-year-old cell phone, Randy. Nobody whatsoever is talking about playing on a 4-year-old cell phone. Borderlands 4 is a premium game made for premium gamers. Wrong again, Bandy. Premium gaming isn't 45 frames at native 4K. I don't know what world you're living in. I don't know where you're pulling this from, but native 4K at 45 frames a second is not premium gaming. Say it again. Native 4K at 45 frames per second is not premium gaming. Just as Borderlands 4 cannot run on a PlayStation 4, nobody's asking for it to run on a PlayStation 4. It cannot be expected to run on two old PC hardware. You can't even expect it to run on a 5090. Unlike on PlayStation and Xbox, we cannot prevent a PC player with suboptimal hardware for the game to try to play it. The voices you should be listening to, the people you should be paying attention to in this whole situation are the ones with the optimal hardware, are the ones with the high end hardware. Sure, if somebody with a 3080 is bitching to you about Borderlands 4 performance, we all understand that. We understand the risks that comes with that. We understand how to take that kind of criticism with a grain of salt. Because sure, Borderlands 4 is not going to run on a 30 series card, at least not well. Right? The Unreal Engine 5 is not optimized to run well on some of these cards. We 100% understand that. We probably understand that more than you understand that because we're in here playing most of these games that are using Unreal on these hardware. You just seem like, I don't know, it just seems like you exist outside of this in your own little fucking bubble, and it's just ridiculous. So some try to get mad and some have actual issues we need to fix. You know what? I appreciate that. I can appreciate you saying, acknowledging that there are issues we need to fix. And if you were just to focus on that one sentence, some have actual issues we need to fix. If you were to just hone in on that and tell us as a collective that that's the most important thing to work on, that's the most important thing to take away from all of this, once again, I would not be making this video. I would not be calling you Dark Side Pitchford, right? I would not be thinking you're just a meme at this point because that's all you are. And some need to learn how their PCs work at the high end for the specific game in 2025 and use the tools available to them to find the right balance between frame rate, resolution, and graphics features. Right there, that sentence instantly negates your premium gaming nonsense. The high end, the top tier, the cream of the crop, the 5090 users with all this extra hardware, this overkill PC should never have to use something like frame gen purposefully. They should not have to use DLSS at quality or any other resolution. They should be able to run a game now at native 4K between 90 and 120 frames. That should be the standard because that's what Battlefield's doing. That's they're doing it in their fucking beta. And yet you can't see that. This is my favorite. If you're trying to drive a monster truck with a leaf blower's motor, you're going to be disappointed. You got it mixed up, Randy. Borderlands 4 is not a monster truck. Once again, Borderlands 4 is a leaf blower. It is a used golf cart with a monster truck body on it. It's not the opposite because we got the hardware to play it. We've seen people play it on top end hardware. Where's the monster truck? Where is it? If you discover your system can't run the game well by accident or wishful thinking and or don't want to try and mess with the settings to make this good enough for you, please use the refund feature on Steam rather than have a subpar experience. That is something you and I have can completely agree with. I will fist bump you on that. We can have a cup of tea, a shot of whiskey, a sandwich, a panini. We can go to dinner over this and discuss the fact that people should refund their game because this is a subpar experience. That's exactly what this is. That was the most accurate statement in anything I've seen you say about Borderlands 4 at all. Is use the Steam refund feature if you're having a subpar experience. And I encourage anybody that has the same gripes that I do the same. Let your wallet speak. Let your money talk. Because I feel like that's the only thing that's going to get Dark Side Pitchford to change. I 100% honestly do not feel like he has anybody but his own best intentions at heart. And that's the worst way to feel about somebody who gave us something like Borderlands, who gave us a franchise like Borderlands. To look at you the same way we look at these EA execs, the same way we look at Bobby Kotick, the same way we look at all these evil people. That's how you want to be perceived. That's it. That's the end game here. Because that's where we're at. And that's what we're doing. You're filling that void really fucking well. And I don't want to do that, bro. I remember being so happy and ecstatic and hyped about Borderlands 2. I remember upgrading my card to support physics because of Borderlands 2. It was such a great game. It ran great. I didn't have any problems with it. It was wonderful. And it sucks to know that we are here now at this point. I don't know what else to say, honestly. I feel like I've said a lot. I feel like I've proven a lot. You may not see this. That doesn't matter. I did this strictly just to get this out of my system because this is something, gaming is something that not only I, but infinitely other people use as a way of escaping the bullshit of the world, of reality itself, right? You can turn on the news and look at social media to see how terrible it is out there. The whole world is pretty much burning. And all I want to do is just escape, get away for a second, recalibrate myself, not focus on the bullshit that's going on in the world, and instead take some time and focus on killing enemies, looting things, having a good gaming experience. But I'm not going to do it at the cost of sacrificing my standards because you decide to cheap out on game production, because you decide to save a little bucks on producing and optimizing a game. You're taking advantage of us. You're taking advantage of this whole situation. And that's not cool at all. That's nowhere near cool. Never has been cool. Never will be cool. So, fuck it, right? There's plenty of other games to play other than Borderlands 4. Not that it means much coming from me, but I will be playing other games than Borderlands 4. I'm looking real forward to Battlefield 6. I never thought in a million years that I would be more excited about an EA game than I would be about a Gearbox game. The way you guys ported over Halo on the PC was awesome. I remember spending countless times on that. You know what? I actually enjoyed Duke Nukem Forever. I thought Duke Nukem Forever was a great Duke Nukem game. Everybody else complaining about it. I felt like they were just too busy comparing it to Call of Duty and other modern shooters when you shouldn't have. Duke Nukem was one thing and one thing only. It's always been Duke Nukem, and Duke Nukem Forever was that. It was a Duke Nukem game. And I enjoyed the hell out of that. Borderlands 1 and 2 was amazing. 3 sucked. I didn't play Tiny Tina's Adventure. I have Tiny Tina's Adventure, and it just does not appeal to me. I have not touched it. I will not touch it. So yeah, congratulations on your promotion, Randy. Right, you've been promoted to locale, and now Gearbox is in the same light as Blizzard, Activision, EA. Terrible, 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 terrible company. Anyways, I've been Raven. That's been today in gaming.